What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we're going to jump in to round up the Destiny 2 news. So this week we did get a new content drop in the form of the Empyrean Foundation, and we firstly have some community progress, but also it's given us a lot of hints about future Season 10 content. We also have a new node in the Crucible, and a possible mystery character, so we'll talk about that stuff as well as a pretty juicy XP and God-rolled weapon farm. And then Bungie confirm some updates coming in March. Presumably they will drop alongside Season 10, and it looks like potentially we'll see a nerf to our favourite Errantil, as well as a few other adjustments. So we're going to round up a bunch of stuff in this video, guys. If you do enjoy it, a rating below really helps me out, but otherwise let's get into it. A quick shout right here, quite a few players were saying yesterday that they weren't able to access the quest for the new Sundial Boss, which of course begins the proceedings for Empyrean Foundation. And so if Saint's quest hasn't showed up this week, quite a few players are reporting that completing the To the Colonies quest that Saint 14 has should grant you access to the new quest he has this week. Of course, Saint did have 3 initial quests when he arrived in the tower, so it's worth bearing in mind that quite a lot of this seasonal stuff can depend on past progress in the season, but hopefully clearing the Lost Colonies quest will help you out if you're currently unable to get the new quest. Now that the Empyrean Foundation is in full swing though, we do have a new node appearing in the Crucible Director, and this is actually tracking community co-op progress. So we can see this one bang in the middle of the Director, and it has 7 segments which will actually light up as the community makes progress with donations in the event. So right now we're on stage 2, obviously this is displayed in game, but also confirmed by Bungie. However, once again, the Calaris Spires location listed on that node is the original Lighthouse location from Destiny 1. I think we can say with very little doubt right now that we are rebuilding what looks to be the Lighthouse for Season 10. Of course, that's according to the node being teased here, but also what we know via the leaks from Jinsa, that Trials of Osiris, specifically, is likely to return in Season 10. We also spoke about the Worthy mission. This is a secret quest mission as part of this event. We know it has an objective requirement to donate 5,000 fractaline before you can actually enter it. However, it hasn't showed up in the game just yet, so it does appear to be kind of gated out either through time, or, more likely of course, through the progress that we're making in the event. And I would guess personally that after we hit all 7 stages, the mission will unlock and probably be a narrative piece to tip us into the next season. And of course, I'm sure you didn't miss it, but in case you did, Jinsa had previously tweeted that he found a text line that refers to Trials of Osiris and more returning in Season of the Worthy. However, recently he's also teased about some dialogue which could be linked to the Worthy mission itself. It's not something that I'm going to run in the video right here, but you can check the link out if you want to hear it. But as a general overview, spoiler alert, Osiris in this audio is referring to the Old Man, the Light and the Dark, and asking him where he stands. And there is no kind of counterpart dialogue that we can hear at the moment, but it did raise the question of who Osiris is talking to, who the Old Man actually is. And it seems pretty possible that we will have an existing character from the game or the lore, because Jinsa does say that he knows who that character is, but doesn't want to spoil it. Yet folks have listed nearly every character in the game, and Jinsa said it's bound to be one of them, which I think is kind of a tell that this is probably a character that we'll already know of in one form or another. And so all in all, the game is teasing us heavily, and then we also have leaks and hints coming from a few different places about Trials. Again, I personally guess that the Worthy mission will actually have us return to the Lighthouse in Calaris Spires, and who knows, maybe we'll actually get to go and light the beacon on the Lighthouse. That could be pretty awesome. Once again, let us know what you think about the potential of Trials returning and being one of the focuses of Season 10 specifically. But otherwise, for now, the main shouts for the content we have this week, of course, would be Inatam, the new Sundial Boss. And surprisingly, this one came with an entirely different boss fight, so we got a new arena in the Corridors of Time. And then there were some plate capturing mechanics and teleporting, which is certainly the most interesting of the Sundial encounters so far in my opinion. And of course this is part of the initial quest for the Sundial core. When you're donating fractaline in the tower, one of the things that you're actually able to do, and one of the things that you definitely should be doing when you're turning fractaline in, would be collecting time-lost weapon bounties. So, of course, you can grab these from the tower obelisk, but every time you make a donation of 100 fractaline, it'll actually give you 25% progress on any of the time-lost weapon bounties that you're currently holding, and that will work for multiple bounties. And so basically, especially if you're turning large amounts of fractaline in, you can just buy the time-lost bounties, turn in 400 fractaline, complete the bounties, pick up the rewards, which includes a bunch of XP, but also the potential of god roll weapons, right? This enables us to get a lot of loot very quickly, and so it's definitely worth picking them up in the vendor inventory, then turning Fractaline in, turning the bounties in, and then picking up more bounties. And there's even a glitch that will allow you to pick up 7 time lost bounties at once, so that can be a useful shout, and I'll link a video from Cheese Forever down below if you want to check it out. But this is definitely one of the benefits of the event that's worth taking advantage of. The final shout on the subject of the Empyrean content really would be the Lighthouse and Shader, so you can actually preview this in the game if you haven't spotted it already. Obviously comes with that signature kind of golden yellow, trialsy yellow, I guess, or it's kind of a mustardy yellow, this one. But then also some black, brown, and grey colours, so it's definitely a colour scheme that we haven't really had that much access to in D2 so far. Definitely pretty cool, it's a colour scheme that I quite enjoy myself, and I'm most curious to see, if Trials does come back, exactly what some of those awesome loots could potentially look like. Otherwise, let us know your thoughts on the content that we've had this week, but now, let's talk about some upcoming Bungie updates with changes for Destiny 2. So, there was some conversation about fusion rifles in a new video from Cool Guy. Definitely worth checking out Cool Guy's stuff, it's a video about high-impact fusion rifles specifically in the Crucible. But somebody replied, fusion rifle nerf inbound, and DMG said, the team has been looking at fusion rifle feedback for a bit, and we'll have a Sandbox preview before March to discuss changes to a variety of areas. And so it sounds potentially like we're going to get a kind of comprehensive PvP Sandbox update, and that's something that a lot of players would probably expect if Trials is indeed to come back. And we know as well that there's a lot of feedback very specifically about weapons like Erentil inside of the Crucible, so it seems that we could be seeing some changes there, but also, as DMG says, changes to a variety of areas in the game potentially, or in the Sandbox specifically, so we'll have to stay tuned for that preview before March actually rolls around. And then separately, DMG said that they are still looking into the issue with the firing glitch with the symmetry. It's not a glitch that comes up very often, but they are looking also to address this in the March update. And of course, this is the first kind of mention of that March update. We don't know exactly when it's going to drop, but I would assume that it's an update either immediately before the start of Season 10, or indeed the update that kicks off Season 10. DMG also added that they noted in TWAB recently the team is looking into performance issues, especially inside of the UI, and some of that lag that we have when trying to apply mods and stuff like that. So that's something potentially we could see an update to again in March. But on the subject of faction rallies, players are still asking the question about faction rallies, and some are even speculating that maybe we'll see factions return in some form as the additional content alongside Trials of Osiris, but of course that's pure speculation, and DMG for now says I don't have any updates at the moment, but once we have more information, we'll let you know. And so once again, the fate of those old factions. I'd definitely love to see them brought back to the game, even if they were static vendors and weren't kind of part of an event. Although as well as offering kind of random rolls on weapons and things like that potentially, that it would be good to see them kind of reworked in a somewhat substantial way, right? Let us know your thoughts about that. But players on the subject of the Empyrean Foundation, and specifically making donations, have shared frustrations about the slow donation rate, so of course you can only turn in 100 per go. And DMG said it looks like they don't have a way to kind of alleviate this server side. But if there are future events like this, then it's something they'll definitely look to try and avoid. And there may even be a kind of technical issue there, right? Because you're turning in fractally and getting XP, getting progress on bounties. Quite a few different things going on at once, so I don't know if the game could actually calculate everything like that. But DMG also left that shout there. Every time you donate to the Tower Obelisk, your time lost weapon bounties are progressed, so once again, it's a really good time to be looking for those god rolls. And we thought that getting multiple drops of loot in Menagerie was OP. I'd say that this definitely is dropping even more loot than we got back then, so it's worth taking advantage of. Final couple of things to mention right here, but of course Crimson Days is due to launch into the game next week on Tuesday. And that means more than likely we're going to get details about it this Thursday in This Week at Bungie. We know that we'll get 2 new exotic sparrows, and when you put them together, they look kind of like this. And it also looks like it's going to be some kind of a quest reward, potentially. But otherwise, there will be Eververse stuff, as always, so it's going to be interesting to see if the event has any new elements, but I think on the most part we should probably expect a generally similar experience, and maybe even a kind of sweaty Crimson Days experience as folks get ready for the potential return of Trials. Nonetheless, we should have all of the details about that later on this week. Bungie did actually post some lore for the new boss that we got in the Sundial, Inatam. And it loosely speaks to how Inatam actually came to be, taking the influence of the power of all 3 of the other bosses that we've met before Inatam. That's pretty interesting, and these Scion folks are definitely up to all kinds of no good, but for today guys, that is everything we've got to round up, so I hope you found the video interesting, and if you have, a rating really helps me out. Also, if you're new around here, feel free to hit subscribe if you'd like to be kept up to date with everything related to Destiny 2. But otherwise, thank you as always for tuning in, guys, and whatever you get up to, I hope you have an awesome day.